Well, it's pretty hard to believe that the Tony Abbott wink, which you saw on TV last night, it came out of a radio interview yesterday morning. It's still being debated. It'll go through the day, and I'm sure on the TV news tonight it'll get another run. I mean, this is in a situation where there is a sensible national debate developing over who pays for what. We're trying to debate who pays their fair share of tax, who should be paying more, how we reduce our debt. We're reducing this whole thing to this nonsense of this wink.
Well, yes. And you can't wink with your right eye. That's what we discovered earlier today.
I can wink with my left eye. I can't do it with my right eye, so I can't understand that. I can do it with the left. Anyway, we're tumbling in, aren't we? We're talking about the stupid wink.
Because, I mean, people do trivialise some of these things, but it does get to the point that we've got this widening, I guess, rift in our society right now. And a lot of it has come about since the budget was delivered by Joe Hockey 9 days ago. Now, we've just had a report come through overnight from the National Centre for Social and Economic Modelling. And they have found, and they've done a lot of analysis on the budget over the last 7 days, and their deep-seated analysis does show and prove, finally, and underline, that those people living in single-parent families, single-income families, and those at the lower end of the income scale, say well below $40,000 and $35,000 a year, are the ones who are going to feel more pain from this budget than any other sector of Australian society.
Yep.
Now, we've suspected that, but this data does now show exactly what's lying out there, that if you are on $35,000 a year, the percentage of your total income is going to be way higher that you lose over the coming 3 to 4 years than it would if you're on a $100,000 or a $200,000 plus income.
Yeah, and look, the truth is the welfare bill is growing, and the revenue that's coming in, we're not generating as much tax. Our tax base has been eroded because of all the tax cuts that were offered during the mining boom. Corporate tax take is down, tax is bleeding through things like negative gearing and superannuation. But when you look back over John Howard's period, John Howard was criticised for what was called middle-class welfare, where he assisted people with these family payments. But to me, what he did, and these are the things that are being wound back, like these family tax benefits Part B, this is critical to what we believe in this country, because we like to think everyone has equal opportunity here. We know it's not the case. We know if you go to the right school, you're going to do better. We know that. But we like to think that each kid has equality of opportunity. And if you're living in a low-income household, if you're living in a household where you might just have a sole parent for whatever reason, that child is entitled in Australia to have every opportunity to go through, to get an education and to become a productive member of the workforce. And that's what the whole idea of those measures was.
But it's clear that in this budget, that rift is going to widen, and that we're no longer that egalitarian society that we've once professed to be.
Yeah, and the other one, you hear a lot about lifters and leaners. There was a cracking letter in the Telegraph today which talked about how if you're going to talk about lifters and leaners, well, what about people who are nurses in aged homes working through the night shift, people who are bus drivers? Are they leaners? People who are getting assistance from the government so they can raise their kids? These are people who are some of the hardest working people in society, who are doing things that we could not do without. Well, they deserve a little assistance so their kids can have an opportunity to do something.
There's a real undertone emerging in this country right now that if you're not earning in excess of $100,000, then what are you doing? You must be a bludger. And we're going back to those days, aren't we? But back to that tone and that sort of language, and it's just crazy. It's enough to make you get a twitch in your eye or start winking.
Very, very good.